Harry, you've put it against Darcy Graham before. Do you remember much about that?
Yeah, I believe I did. Yeah, probably at down in Leicester. What was that, European?
Yeah. Couple of years ago?
Yeah, round of 16 or something. Yeah, great player. So good to watch. Certainly threatening to be on the opposite wing of. He's fast and got good feet. So, remember that back then, and I'm sure he's in flying form at the moment. So much the same.
And that's what coaches and players always say: is we're not concentrating too much on our opponents. It's all about your own performance.
Yeah, I think so. Fortunately, had a couple of good weeks, but I think this is a pretty big week for us. We've got a bit to work on from the last couple of weeks, and certainly the focus has been on improving and ironing out those areas of the game that we need to get better at.
Harry, personally, just on your feelings when you got the news, and did you think this would be a tour where you'd come along and hold shields for the month, or how much hope did you hope that you would get a test to do?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I thought that when I got in the squad, it was nice to get in the squad, but getting in the team's another thing really. So I was happy to help the team, and it was great to be in the squad, but I was pretty keen to get my go, and like you said, I think I was probably aware that might have been the case, but yeah, really excited to have the opportunity, and I'm grateful the coaches have given me that.
And you only get that moment once. How did that feel when your name got read out?
Yeah, pretty shocked, to be honest. Team's obviously been going really well, and there's been some good continuity, so really, I don't know, huge honour to get that in the team meeting. Bit of a shock, and excited for it.
How would you say your game has evolved or changed since you left Leicester, Harry?
Quite a lot, I'd say. I think my views of rugby have probably changed quite a lot. I learnt so much in Europe, and how rugby differs up here. I think, arguably more of a test match style of rugby, a lot of set piece, a lot of territory kicking focus, and then going back to Australia, Super Rugby is exciting, lots of attacking focus, backs getting their hands on the ball. So I've enjoyed that, and doing a little bit more of that at club level, and hopefully the Wallabies can put a bit of that out on Murrayfield on Sunday afternoon.
There's been a lot of chat about 1984 and Grand Slam outside of your bubble. Has there been any chat about it inside?
A little bit. Had a few comments from 1984 Wallabies and what a monumental achievement that was back then. We're all aware that I think we've had 10 attempts to do it over the years, and only ever won or managed a Grand Slam once. Like, bloody hard thing to do, and we're only halfway there, so we're aware of it, but as I'm sure you've already heard from the boss, we're taking it 1 week at a time.
Very, very much so, yeah. What are you expecting from Scotland? From Murrayfield, it's going to be full, it's going to be noisy, it's going to be cold. Yeah,
well, I think firstly, an epic place to play. I think the fans going to come into play. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a big occasion, and probably as big of a game for Scotland as it is for us. They've had a really positive autumn nations. Had a couple of good wins, and really put the South Africans to the sword up until the sort of last 20 minutes. So I'd say they'll be coming out of the blocks firing against us, really wanting a win, and the way that we've seen them play is really impressive, and they're going to threaten us in a lot of areas.
What areas do you expect to be threatened in by Scotland the most?
Just good attacking threats. I think those wingers, like we said before, they've got Darcy Graham and Duane van der Merwe, both bring fairly different styles of wing play, but equally threatening. Tuipulotu in the centres, a lot revolves around him. Hugh Jones as well, and then of course Finn Russell's capable of some pretty impressive stuff at times. So threats across the board, particularly in the back line, and then I'm sure Jez will talk more about the forwards, but they've had a dominant forward pack, and again, plenty of threats there.
As a back three player, how would you defend against somebody like Finn, given that he's got a kind of box full of tricks? Yeah,
you don't switch off, and hope you anticipate what he's got his eye on. You don't know what he's going to pull out, but you've just got to be switched on and ready for whatever might happen with him when he gets his hands on the ball.
Jeremy, what are you going to have to do to win this game, do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, obviously Scotland, quite a big team, and, defensively, they've been really good across the autumn series. So I think it'll be a pretty upfront match, and, I think we got to win the collision areas first. I think that's a big focus going into this week, especially with their big pack. So, we want to take them on and, give our backs front football.
Joe was in here talking about the importance of a squad mentality and backing players from all over the squad. But having said that, did you feel a bit low after you picked up an injury and after London, great vibes, and then you have to sit there and watch the Wales test? You just get not nervous, but just like no one wants to give up their test spot, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think you always want to be out there, representing your country. It's a massive honour. And you'd love to do it every day of the week. But we have such good depth in our squad that we can call upon anyone at any time, and they're always willing to put their hand up, and they'll always get the job done. So as much as I would have loved to have been out there, it was awesome to sit back in the stands and watch the boys go out there and put on a good performance.
And there's been obviously a lot of debutants, and Harry's number 18 this year, but has that got a net positive in that sense? I mean, you only made your debut as well this year, but that squad is building out nicely, and that there's maybe depth there that hasn't been the case for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I guess so. Giving people experience in the test arena and kind of building squad depth is obviously key to making a squad grow and develop, and I think Joe's done a really good job at that, and it's awesome being able to see people obviously dream of playing for the Wallabies, and like you said, there's been a lot of test debuts this year, and it's awesome to see those guys go out there and get their opportunity and make the most of it.
Jeremy, when we spoke to Will Skelton earlier in the week, he said this would be the toughest game of the two so far. How much better do you guys need to be than the first two games to get the result on Sunday?
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think, like I touched on before, they're quite a big forward pack, and they love the collision areas, so we're going to have to match that or even come in better at the game. To give our backs front football and to try and get them on their back heel. I think that'll be the big challenge. Obviously at Maul time they've got Cummins and Gilchrist as well, who are great line-out operators, and it'll be a good challenge and a good battle that I think everyone's really looking forward to getting out there on Sunday.
Scrum there was some problems against Wales. You're kind of quite confident that you've managed to fix that in the limited time you've had training?
Yeah, definitely. I think Chrono's a great scrum coach, and we've had some good reviews, and we know our fixes, and we've gone out this week and implemented those fixes, and I think everyone's feeling confident going into the weekend.
When you talk to some of the Ireland players that Joe coached, they kind of talk about his microscopic attention to detail, his ruthless driver of standards. And I think it was Tommy Bowe, the Ireland wing, said that he learned early on that Joe has got eyes in the back of his head because he misses nothing. Has he mellowed at all, or does those descriptions ring true for both of you?
I've heard that description as well. Like he's certainly watching, and I think perhaps the longer you have him coaching you, the more you see that. But yeah, I've certainly got the impression he's got his eyes on everything, and I think that's an important thing that a coach needs to do, to be across the small details that Test match rugby needs to have absolutely perfect.
Sorry, when you left Leicester, obviously, to come home and have a crack at doing what you're doing right now, was there ever a decision that you made about, because obviously you English qualified as well, to stay or to come home? Was there ever a kind of a thing that you had to weigh up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very grateful to have got the opportunity I did in the UK, and it worked out well for me. I hadn't played professional rugby before coming over here, and to go to a club that was, you know, reasonably successful when it was great. But I wanted to come back to Australia partly because I wanted to play for the Western Force, but largely because you can't play for the Wallabies unless you're playing rugby in Australia. So I'd say a fair component of that was wanting to play for the Wallabies. So grateful to have been able to make that happen. Well, fingers crossed in 2 more days.